Well, Keir Starmer has arrived in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. He's there with his French, German and Polish counterparts as they all look to try and put pressure on Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire. Let's bring in our political correspondent, Amanda Akas. And Amanda, morning to you. The Prime Minister there alongside those other three leaders in what they're seeing as quite a significant moment that they're all in the Ukrainian capital.
Yes, absolutely. It's the first time the leaders of the four key European nations have been in Ukraine at the same time. And I think the idea is very much to send this powerful message of solidarity with the Ukrainians, with President Zelenskyy, seeing Sir Keir Starmer, President Macron, the newly installed Chancellor Merz of Germany and the Prime Minister of Poland, Donald Tusk, all there together, three of them arriving by train, Prime Minister Tusk joining them in Kyiv directly from Poland. You can see in those images there that they're in Kyiv paying their respects to victims of the war, to fallen Ukrainian soldiers there standing together with President Zelenskyy and his wife. Now, all of this is partly to show solidarity after yesterday 20 world leaders travelled to Moscow to be part of the Victory Day commemorations there with President Putin. And what the European leaders are really trying to do, as you say, is trying to put pressure on the Russians to agree to President Trump's proposals for a 30-day ceasefire, because they argue that in doing so that would enable talks to continue to provide the space for some kind of enduring peace deal to be struck. Now, they have they've called on the Russians to stop obstructing efforts to secure an enduring peace, and they've also pledged to continue to increase support for Ukraine and to ratchet up the pressure on the Russian war machine, as they've put it in a statement released ahead of this visit last night, until they agree to some kind of ceasefire deal. Now, later on today, the leaders, alongside President Zelenskyy, will be hosting a virtual meeting of other members of the Coalition of the Willing. This is this organisation of mainly European countries, but some others, other nations who have signed up to this plan by President Macron, Sir Keir Starmer, to help come up with a way of trying to guarantee the security of Ukraine in the event of a peace deal being struck. Now, originally, that seemed to be very much about some kind of peacekeeping force on the ground and in the air, and Sir Keir Starmer and President Macron have both talked about committing troops to that. The language around that has been very much dialed down in recent weeks, and now Downing Street say it's about a future coalition of an air, land, maritime and regeneration force that would help regenerate Ukraine's armed forces. But the details of exactly what this would mean are still very much up in the air, though work has been going on between different military leaders from those countries behind the scenes, so we may well find out more later on today about what exactly that could look like in the event of a ceasefire in future.